What y'all want, man? Back it up, bro. Back it up. Back it up. We got work to do. We got work to do. That's right, fellas. Look at who it is. The 72 Chevelle. It is on the chopping block. Guys, what is up? Welcome back to the channel. We are finally going to get this body off the chassis. I should say the other way around. Sorry, guys. I'm a little bit congested still and just recovering from COVID. The wifey came down with COVID about a week ago. Of course, it hit me too. I've been down for about a week, but I'm feeling a lot better today. Today's probably the first day I've really been feeling pretty good since last week or the week before when we kind of started cleaning out the interior on this thing. But we are ready to hit this thing hard today. Hopefully we can have the chassis and the body separated today. As a matter of fact, we're gonna go ahead and, of course, we gotta start with the battery, disconnect the battery and everything else like that. We're gonna work our way kind of from the engine bay to underneath the car itself, and then we'll go from there and see how it goes. All right, first up is the battery, of course. Positive, negative, we got to remove for sure. Next up is the fan shroud and the front cover for the radiator. But the front cover was a pain in the butt just because the welding nuts that are on the core support itself looks like they were stripped. And they were not, it was just not happening. So we definitely had to get creative there, put a little pressure on there. And then we also have to remove the battery tray from underneath because it is attached to the actual inner fender well. Next up, we got the power steering lines. We want to undo the power steering line along with all the other fluids just because this thing's going to leak everywhere when we start taking and pulling the chassis apart. We also got the brake lines to worry about. We're going to go ahead and undo the brake lines at the master cylinder and brake booster here. Of course, we're trying to get also the wires off the distributor as well on the back side. Definitely want to get all the wiring out as well. Next up, we have our heater lines. As you can see, we are making a mess, baby. Heater lines are leaking everywhere. They're leaking antifreeze. Good thing we have our catch at the bottom of this thing to make sure we don't make too much to clean up later. A full inspection from underneath the car to see what's attached, what's not. And we did find something that actually was attached to the front wheel inner fender. We got to remove that. It looks like it was an actual fuel pressure regulator that was attached there. Somebody mounted an aftermarket regulator there. Definitely got to remove that. Next up, we're going to move forward, or I should say towards the back, is transmission. We got to make sure the transmission shifter linkage is all disconnected. This one looks like it's has aftermarket shifter cable that's hooked up through the floorboard. So we want to make sure we remove that so it doesn't get hung up in the process of removing the body. Next up is these emergency brake cables. They are such a pain in the butt, let me tell you. Just because they live underneath the car, there's always corrosion, rust, you name it. You can see we got to get the grinder out with the cutting wheel just because we are not dealing with it. This was the only way to get it off. Not to mention we're going to upgrade everything, even the emergency brake cable. We got to get these wheels off to make sure we can actually get the inner fenders out, just because these are always problematic when we come to remove a frame and body. You want to remove those inner fenders, and it'll make a lot easier when you go up front and you start removing. For one, the steering shaft has got to come out, and it'll help you access all that. Not to mention, make sure you got clearances everywhere when you start removing these things, because they are attached to the front of the bumper. Not to mention that front filler and everything. But this one was a pain in the butt, you guys, just because you guys all know, as they have nuts on the backside that are attached to the fenders. They're almost like a C-clamp, and a lot of times they're rusted or they just spin. And yeah, that's right. You got to get the cutting wheel out, get the grinder out, and just start cutting these things off. There's no really other way to do it, because once they spin, they spin. That's a wrap. We're going to do all new hardware, hopefully up front anyway, so not a big deal. We're going to go ahead and move on to the passenger side of the car. Passenger side of the car was definitely a lot easier, a lot smoother. No issues there. We didn't have to cut anything. Everything came out pretty relatively easy. We're going to go ahead and remove the front bumper here. You always want to make sure that you have something to support that front bumper when you go to remove it. A helping hand would honestly be the best idea. but I do not have one here, so we're gonna have to use the transmission jack. It works pretty good, but it definitely you gotta be at like almost 3 places at once when removing that front bumper. Be super careful, take your time, undo everything. You definitely want to have that out to remove that chassis. Next up, we're going to go to the back of the car, back bumper. You do not have to remove the back bumper, but you do have to remove the lower valance to clear that frame out of there, along with the license plate frame and bracket. You got to remove all that stuff to get that off. Next up, you guys, we're going to go back underneath the car and we're going to start soaking all the bolts, all the body mount bolts with a PB blaster, some kind of rust remover, repellent, you name it, something to kind of just break those stuff free. I mean, you're talking about 50 years plus of just dirt, grime, grease, you name it, rust, all the above. So definitely a good idea to soak everything. Now we're going to come back and hit it with our impact, and yeah, definitely the impact is the way to go. I would not use a wrench or ratchet. I mean, it's just, the impact is definitely the way to go. If there's something like that's just really caught up, it's going to help get that off. Oh yeah, don't forget safety first, because man, let me tell you, those glasses work. All right, you guys, I think we finally are able to separate the two. Cross your fingers that they didn't miss anything. I know the only thing kind of somewhat connected still is the steering column shaft, but it should pop right out. If not, we can give it a little nudge, but let's go up. I think we got our lift pretty much there where we need it to be. Cross our fingers, let's do it. Yeah, okay. Heard a little bit of a pop, but I think it's this radiator. I'm trying to leave everything connected, so I'm just gonna pop the radiator out of the core support.
By sheer coincidence.
So far so good, you guys. Oh, actually what popped out, it looks like it was actually that steering column came out, or maybe it didn't. Oh no, definitely it's binding. Let me help that out. I think we got it. I think that's everything. So far so good. Everything else looks pretty good. The back end might need a little help. We got to see what's going on with that back end. Looks like there's one vapor hose holding it up in the back. So, let's see if we can cut that line.
A few minutes later.
Let's try that again. What's the holder? There it is. It was the gas tank. Gas tank holding everything up. But that freaking shaft is messing stuff up too. Let's see. We're caught in the header. Steering shaft's caught in the header. Course, right? Can't be that easy.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Baby steps, fellas, baby steps. Okay. Oh yeah. Totally forgot to disconnect the alternator too, but some snips will take care of that, guys, because everything's getting rewired in front.
1 hour later!
Oh, baby. Yeah, man. Whew. That was a lot of work, y'all. A lot of work. What a pain in the ass. But we are looking good, fellas. Obviously, the hardest part, you guys saw that earlier, was removing that inner fender, man. The inner fender was all messed up. The bolts and nuts were stripped. We got to cut bolts and all that. But, man, I like it, y'all. I like it. This thing has got to go. Let me show you guys real quick. Oh yeah, man, we are gonna do our thing. This thing needs some love. Not too crazy, definitely some surface rust underneath this thing, but we are planning on sandblasting the whole underneath of the car to get all this old stuff out. We still gotta pull the gas tank off. All these old stuff's gotta go. Obviously, we're gonna undercoat the whole thing underneath, but this chassis, no more. Bye-bye, see you later. It was nice for the 70s, right? But you guys already know we're going full roaster shop chassis. Excited for that. But you guys hit me up, put it down in the comments below if you guys are interested in this whole thing. If it's not gone by the time you guys see this video, but everything is going to be complete, sold as is. The way you see it, the way it's going to go, not leaving with anything else, at least took it apart or anything like that, not parting it out. But if you guys are interested, 72 chassis coupe, I mean, it'll even fit a 70, even a 68. It should fit a 68, I believe, as well. So if you guys are interested, hit me up, put it down in the comments below. We'll get an email sent out. But you guys, man, I'm freaking tired, man. I'm still again recovering. I probably got to load this thing up on the trailer, get it out of here. But you guys already know, man, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit the bell for notifications. You guys already know. Stay wrenching.